What's going on? It's Kareem from DJBooth.net, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a quick review video of the brand new Mixars Primo 2-channel Serato DJ controller. So Mixars have been coming out with really cool DJ gear for the last 4 or 5 years, and they produced really good DJ mixers, really high quality stuff. They also have really high quality turntables, and we reviewed all those products here on this channel, so go hit the search bar and you'll be able to see all of our other Mixars DJ gear reviews. But this is the new Mixars Primo. This is the newest DJ controller or DJ product that Mixars has out right now. They've been teasing this thing since about 2 years ago. I think NAMM 2017 we first heard about it, but we haven't heard anything since. It's finally been released a few months ago, and now we have our hands on the Mixars Primo here, the final edition, and we're going to review this, show you everything that this mixer or DJ controller has to offer. But first up, we're just going to touch on the build quality, and like mostly all of Mixar's gear, this is a mostly metal body that you can see here. The top face is all metal. You have a metal back panel where all your connections are, and then you also have a metal front panel as well. There is some plastic along the sides and the bottom of the unit. There's also cutouts here on the bottom so that way you can grab it, but everything feels really solid, really well built, really well made. You have metal top jog wheels, you have really nice rubberized pads, and your faders don't feel really cheap or plasticky. Everything feels really solid, really sturdy, like it's definitely built to last, like all other Mixars products. The setup for this controller is pretty easy as well. If you have a Windows or Mac, you'll have to go to the website and download your latest drivers and firmware. Make sure you have this up to date. And then you'll have to go to Serato DJ's website in order to download the latest Serato DJ software. Put that on your computer and you'll be ready to play with the Mixars Primo. I also had to do one more funny thing that I never had to do with any other controller ever before, and that was calibrate the jog wheels. When I first did the setup procedure, I had the latest firmware on there, the latest drivers, and the latest Serato DJ software, but for some reason, every time I hit play and I started to touch the jog wheel in any way, the music would just stop. So I had to contact the Mixars company, and they actually told me that we need to do a jog wheel calibration on these when you first get it for some units. So right out of the box, brand new, I had to do a jog wheel calibration first. It's a really simple process where you have to turn the power on while holding a few other keys, and don't press anything on the jog wheel and it will automatically sense where it is. And that's all it took. Once that was done, the unit worked really well and everything worked just as it should. Okay, so first up, we'll take a look at all of the inputs and outputs. You have your master XLR, you also have your booth TRS, and you also have a master RCA connection as well. Then you have your 2 channel inputs, channel 1, channel 2, both are RCAs, and you can switch either one to line or to phono using the small switches on the back. Then you also have your microphone input on the back, which is a combo jack. It's either XLR or 1/4 inch. Then you have your USB port. Then you have your power button, nice clicky power button, and then your DC in for your power supply. On the front, you have your mic off and aux switch, so that way you can use the controls on the front either to use your mic input or your auxiliary input. Your auxiliary RCA input is found on the front. It's perfect for when DJs are doing gigs and you want to maybe use phone music or another source of your audio, so you can just plug it in and that way you'll be able to play. And it's also good to have it as a backup because you don't need this to be working or using in Serato DJ in order to use your auxiliary ports on the front, so that's definitely a huge plus. You also have your microphone and aux volume knob, your tone volume knob, and then you have your mic echo knob as well, so that way you can put an echo onto your microphone. Up in the front, you also have your crossfader reverse on and off, your crossfader curb knob, and you have your Q master knob in the front. You also have your headphone jacks, your 1/4 inch and your mini, and you have your split Q on off button, and of course the level knob again for your headphone. So now that we checked out everything on the panels, we're gonna take this bad boy, plug it in, and show you all the other controls that we have here on the Mixars Primo. Alright, so here you have it, the new Mixars Primo 2-channel Serato DJ controller. It is actually 4-channel capable because you have deck 3 and deck 4 layered in with these switches here at the top. Right now it's on deck 1, but you can switch that over to deck 3. Right now this is on deck 2, but you can switch that over to deck 4. But It's usually easier to DJ on controllers with a full 4 decks of range here instead of layered within if you really want to DJ using 4 decks. This is more a 2-channel style DJ controller in my opinion, and it works the best when used in that 2-channel configuration. Right off the bat, up front panels, we already showed you all of the input and output options there. You have your headphone output here all the way to the right, and one thing to note about this headphone output is that it's very, very strong. It's very, very loud, and it's going to work well for when you're in those really loud DJ environments where you need to monitor and be by yourself with your sound. This is definitely going to do it for you because it's very, very loud. Again, you have your split Q option here so you can monitor in your headphones, and then on the front you also have the knobs for your fade between what you're queuing up in the headphones with your Q buttons here, or what's coming out of the master with the master control volume knob here. So first up we have the crossfader, and the crossfader is here on the bottom, and it feels pretty good, but the feel is kind of deceptive because this has a rather long 5mm cut in distance. You can really move the fader quite a bit before you actually hear the sound cut out and in, and I'll give you a quick example of that right now. Lot of space here that's dead where you don't get any sound at all, and we are on the hardest or harshest curve setting, meaning it's the sharpest curve setting that we have, and it's still a really big space of dead space in there. Long cut in distance is a no-no for crossfader, so it kind of makes it a little bit useless when doing most of your super hard cuts. But again, DJ controllers are not really where you're going to lay down your huge crazy sets when you're talking about turntablism, so I mean, you got to take it for what it is. This controller doesn't have one of the better crossfaders on most controllers out there. I'll get in touch with the guys from Innofader and see if we can put something else in there to make this even better than it is now. Next, you have your line faders. They are much more stiff and they work just as they should. You have your shift button here in the middle. The shift gives a lot of your other secondary functions to some of the primary functions you see here on some of your buttons. Anything that has like a white annotation below it, a white box, meaning you can press the shift key and do something else with that same button. Next, you have your effects that are in the middle. These are kind of like your sound color effects. You have noise, filter, echo, and crush. They all work really nicely, and they're all post fader effects as well. You also have your low, mid, and high EQs for each of your 2 channels. You have your sampler volume knob in the middle. You also have your booth volume knob above that, and then your master volume knob with this bright blue color on it all the way above that. Next, you have your load functions and your browse and library oversized knob. It's nice and rubberized, and it's nice and clicky, so you know exactly where you are within your library. You can press shift and this knob, and then you'll be able to go back and forth through all of your different folders and files or your different playlists in order to select the playlist that you're trying to use. You click load and you'll be able to load the track that you have in question, the track that you want to use at that particular time. When you load it, you see the outer ring on the jog wheel kind of load up or queue up the track. Next, you have your FX1 and FX2 that are at the top of your controllers. This is like the traditional 3 different controls for your effect, and then you have your beat knob here all the way to the side, so you can select all of your different effects that you have within Serato DJ right here in any one of your FX modules, and you can enact them on deck 1, 2, 3, and 4 depending on how you select these knobs here, these buttons. That way you can select whatever deck you want any one of your effects to reside on. You can use your multi-effects within Serato DJ or your single effects where you can use these buttons or knobs to change different parameters of the effects. So full featured effects at the top for all of your Serato DJ effects, and yes, they are post crossfader and post line fader as well. Next, you have your grid adjust and slide buttons. These are used to set your different grids within your Serato DJ software of your track. You have a slip button here, and you can also use this to change the pitch range by pressing shift and slip. You also have your nice long oversized pitch slider, and this tempo slider has caused some issues with some people in the forums that I've seen, but I haven't had any issues with the pitch slider. One of my minor gripes with the pitch slider is that around the 0 point there is no change in the BPM or in the percent but there is a center click there as well. I would have liked to see a darker line at the center 0 area, because when I was doing my manual beat matching, I like to kind of use that as a reference point for each one of my decks, so I know exactly how much I am over or under the 0. So that was a little bit confusing, but you can always slide it back to that middle click area to where the 0 is at. Next, you have your pitch bend buttons. You also have your key lock button and your familiar auto loop section that you see here. This is what's similarly found on most Pioneer DJ equipment. You have your auto loop, you can half the loop, double the loop, and you also have parameter buttons that correspond to your different pads. We'll get to the pads in a second. You also have a vinyl button here, so that way you can use this in vinyl mode, the jog wheel, or you can use it in jog mode, meaning that you can just fast forward or slow down the track that's currently playing, but it won't actually grab and bend and scratch the music. The jog wheels themselves are pretty good to use, but they do have rather stiff tension to them, and I really wish they had a lot less tension to them and they were a lot more slippery, because as you can see, if I do a spin back, the most it's going to spin back is maybe 2 or 3 turns. When you do the spin backs with CDJs or something else that has a lot lighter of a feel, you get a good 10 spin backs on one rotation, and I'm not allowed to do that here, and I really wish these were a lot looser than they are now. It's more tight, which means for me it's more geared towards using this for mixing as opposed to scratching, but they are very accurate, so you're going to get all the right sounds that you're supposed to get. But at the same time, I wish the jog wheels were a little looser, so that way I can get my more accurate spin backs and more accuracy with juggles, and it just feels more true to vinyl when it has less tension than more tension. To go along with the jog wheel, the only time that you actually see a needle indicator on the jog wheel is when you're at the 20-second ending mark of your track. For some reason, that's just how it works. Let's see if I can give you a quick demo here. You can actually see the needle indicator now that the track is less than 20 seconds done. But it doesn't work when the track is playing from the beginning. Your pockets just got light bulbs. So I don't know if that's going to be a firmware update that they produce one way or another, but I would like to see that needle indicator working throughout the whole track and not just for the final 20 seconds of the track. Next, you have your touch needle strip. This will allow you to skip forward or backwards within the track. You also have your sensor and reverse button. This will allow you to monetarily slip or censor the curses or any other part of the song you want to, just for a brief second while you're holding it down, or if you press shift and censor, the whole track will continue to play in reverse. Next, you have your play, pause, cue buttons. These are like the hard plastic, but they feel like they have like a brushed aluminum kind of paint on them. Very responsive. They feel really responsive and they feel good even though they're pretty small here. You have your sync on and off button here. And then you have your notorious pad modes within Serato DJ. You have hot cue, cue loop, roll, manual loop, slicer, slicer loop, sampler, and of course my favorite, pitch play. So you have all of the functions that you need here. They're very, very responsive, rubberized pads. They don't have a click to them, but they do have a good amount of give to them. So they feel really good to drum and play with. Jenner, your pockets just got now. So in conclusion, the new Mixars Primo 2-channel Serato DJ controller is a pretty good controller overall. It's good for Serato DJ if you're a Serato DJ user. There's not too many else for you guys to choose from for the 2-channel market that is current today. You have the DDJ SR2, which I think I like a little bit better than this unit, but the things that this does have going for it is that it has really good construction. It has a metal top on the front, on the top, and on the back. So you got a really, really solid build quality here. You also get a nice compact footprint. It's really easy to take with you on the go. You probably still want to invest in a small bag and or the deck saver cover, so that way everything's protected when you do buy this and you're going to take this with you out on the go. But the compact size is very ideal for you to store it and also for you to fit in those cramped DJ booths, and also just to take with you on the go. It's much easier than when you're using a bigger 4-channel DJ controller. It also comes bundled with the full-out Serato DJ DJ Pro software, and it also has all of the cool pad modes that you come to love, including the pitch play, the hot cue, and all of the rolls, the slicers, and everything else you guys would want on the pads. And the pads are very, very nice, and they work very well for finger drumming and for all of the other performance functions that you're going to do with them. The other excellent thing about the Mixars Primo is that it comes with a standalone mixer mode, meaning you can use this without attaching it to your computer. All of the sound color style effects in the middle will work with any device you have plugged into either of the channels, and the two channels are Serato DVS DJ compatible, meaning you can use your time code controls for the inputs on the back of the unit. All you need to do is upgrade to that Serato DVS kit. On the downside, I really thought that the lag on the crossfader was very, very long. It's much more than what I find on other DJ mixers. I'll have to check with the guys over at Innofader to see if you can plug an Innofader in here. But as it stands, the fader that's here really is a very long cut-in distance, making it very, very hard for you to scratch with using the Mixars Primo. The jog wheels also have way too much tension for my liking. I like them to be a lot looser than this, a lot more scratchy, a lot more loose, so that way you can do more scratching and more spin backs at a longer rate than what you can do here on the Mixars Primo. And also on the downside, I didn't like the fact that I had to actually set up the pressure sensitivity or the touch sensitivity of the jog wheel right out of the box. Let us know in the comments if your unit had to do the same thing with it. But this was one of the first DJ controllers that I ever had to calibrate the jog wheels right out of the box, so that way it would start working. But all in all, it's still a pretty cool controller for Serato DJ. It's nice and compact, it's very well made, and it will definitely suit the bill for you guys out there that don't care about having a real slippery style jog wheel, or don't care about the longer cut-in distance of the fader. So for those mixing DJs, this might be the perfect Serato DJ solution for them. So for more on this written review, you guys can click at the link at the top of this video description. You can go straight to the website, and that way you can see much more on the review for the unit. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you like videos like this one. Make sure you guys subscribe, so that way you know when the newest video reviews and unboxings and tips and tricks videos are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.